Welcome back to the sweatshop. In today's video, we're going to be working on this 2001 Subaru Forester. What we're going to be doing on this Forester today is ripping out the engine. The reason being is because we have a customer who wants the short block. So I'm going to be going through the process of how to remove this thing as though I was doing head gaskets. Now, this is kind of different from most of the ones most of you guys will probably be working on, because unfortunately, most of these sorts of EJs have gone the way of the dodo and gone extinct because of rust and whatnot. They're not very popular. These aren't the EJs that have the variable valve timing or any of that sort of stuff. So it's going to be a bit different than what you would see for a newer EJ, but it's basically the same thing. There's not much of a difference, and yeah. Now, of course, some of you are going to notice that there are a few parts missing. Of course, because this is a parts car, we have sold a few things off of it. Mainly from the engine side of things, it's just the starter motor that's gone. And yeah, not much else. The box has been removed. The intake box that usually sits in that area there is removed. Those things really aren't hard to do. There is a bracket that sits on top of the transmission here. That's also removed. That holds your air box. Another thing about this video, I'll give you an overview of what the tools are that are potentially needed, that are, well, off the top of my head. And well, you're gonna have to forgive me if I miss any, because I'm getting older and my memory doesn't work as it used to. Neither does my speech. Anyhow, hopefully there are no broken bolts or surprises that I don't want to deal with today. So that being said, let's go ahead, take a look at our tools, and we'll start getting stuff started. Of course, in case you are wondering what kind of tools you're going to need, the very basics of tools is really what you're going to need. I would definitely recommend, instead of getting wrenches, just get some flex head ratcheting wrenches. Those will make your life considerably easier. I like the long ones because, well, you know, leverage is at a premium when you get older. 14, 10 mil, 12 mil is what is needed. I also got a 10 mil flex head, just a normal size wrench as well. As for 1/4 inch drive, we will just need a single 10 mil with a 1/4 inch ratchet. That's pretty much all you need. As for ratchets, you're going to be getting a 3/8, just a regular one, and an extendo one, because that will make your life considerably easier. I'm going to pause this now because that compressor is going to be a real pain in the ass to edit out. As I was saying, for our wonderful 3/8 ratchet, we're going to need a plethora of 3/8 sockets. We have an 8 mil, 10 mil, a 12 mil, 14, and 17. The 8 mil we're not going to be using because I now see that we don't have our airbox connected. Most times worm clamps are an 8 mil. Now, after our standard deep sockets, you can use shallow as well. It doesn't really make a difference. You will need a flex socket set, 12 and 14 most importantly. The 10 mil, I just brought it along for the ride because, of course, I can't remember what the hell I'm going to be using on this thing. That being said, we also need, very important, a flat screwdriver so we can get rid of our connectors easily without breaking them. We're going to need a hammer and pry bars in case our engine decides to seize itself, which usually is the case here in the Rust Belt. This type of wedge bit or chisel bit type of screwdriver is also important. And of course, you'll need some power action in order to get those stubborn bolts nice and loose. So we've got our 3/8 DeWalt gun and our 1/2 inch, and yeah, I don't think we'll need our 1/2 inch air impact, but you never know. Prepare for that. You sometimes need a gun that's uber powerful, usually for the crank bolt. Speaking of which, in the 1/2 inch variety, you will need a 22 for the crank bolt and a 14 mil for some of the stubborn bolts on the exhaust, as well as the engine mount bolts. One thing that I forgot that I now realize is a vice grip. Yeah, and also I'm probably going to just cut most of those hoses because it rather is a pain in the ass to get them off sometimes. Yeah, I think that's all the rambling that I can think of right now that I need. I'm gonna go get those tools and I'll come back and send you straight into the video. This is for cutting them hoses, and this guy is for taking them off if you so choose to. Of course, you know the drill. Before we get started with today's video, do me a big favor, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you never miss one of my new videos. Now, let's jump into it. Before we get started, one last tool, this guy here, to remove these stupid little, well, you're going to see me do it. Anyhow, and of course, one last piece of advice. If you are going to be doing this, of course, you'll need to get underneath your car. And if you're going to do that, please employ the use of jack stands so that you don't have anything fall on you, which would not be so good. That being said, Next step is to drain your oil. This guy here on the stock oil pan is always a 17 mil unless it's been replaced. This one here is an upgraded pan. It's bigger, carries more oil. Therefore, our drain nut is a 13 mil. Another time where you're gonna hear my beautiful voice besides in the bloopers. So watch the bloopers. Close the drain plug, and now let's cut a hole in our radiator hose, or remove it if you love your car. Always be ready for a shower. Yay! Now let's do the same thing on the other side. Yes, I know it's hard to see, but you're gonna have to trust me. There's a 14 mil there along with a washer. Get both of those guys out. Oh my God. Oh, I don't know who tightened these guys up. I'd say it's time for a new jacket, eh? Don't drop into the abyss of the engine bay we'll never find again. Not the worst thing in the world, but definitely glad that they went to throttle by wire instead of throttle by old school wire or cable. That was a lame mechanic joke. Now, our two harnesses here should be disconnected. Unfortunately, I can't get them off because they're rust tight. Now, the reason why I pull the intake forward is just to get a little bit more room in this section here. We're gonna go ahead, get the 12 mil out, and we're gonna take these guys off here. Now, one thing I'll tell you is whenever you're doing the intake, it's always possible to forget stuff like I did with that coolant temp sensor. Whatever you do, just make sure you pull up on things really slowly so that if there is a bit of tension, you can take a look around. If you yank on things, you'll end up breaking it, and that would suck. Fortunately for me, if I broke it or not, wouldn't make a difference. All that stuff's getting changed. They're only using the block, but of course you never want to develop that as a safe practice because it's not. It's terrible practice. Now, torque converter bolts. Get a 22.5 inch drive and get a 12 mil and hammer out them boys here. You'll have one more 14 mil bolt down here. If you have the starter, there should be two. Of course, you would have taken the starter off first before taking off the other bolts because it's not accessible, because there's usually a stud over here. Yeah, there it is. I can feel it, but I can't see it. Get your 14 mil, crank it loose. Oh, these bolts are put on pretty tight. Core hoses, 8 mil for stock clamp. We don't care, we're just gonna cut it, put a drain pan underneath. Put this under the transmission, under the pan or front differential. As long as you can force the transmission up, you're good to go. That there is how you pull a Subaru motor. Didn't look as pretty as I wanted it to because I had my forklift cocked, and unfortunately it made things a lot harder than it should have been. Of course, if you're right on like I would have been if my camera wasn't there, it would have been quite a bit easier just to slide out. And I'll show you exactly what was holding it in. It was these two bastardos here that were cocked essentially because it was putting pressure on the one side of the motor. These two guys were gouging or basically etching themselves into the transmission bell housing, which makes things a real pain in the ass. Of course, you're not going to face that because your cherry picker is going to be straight on. You're not going to have a camera in the way, so it'll make your life considerably easier. Well, that's pretty much all she wrote for this one. Next step for me is to go ahead and separate our heads so we can get the block of this thing prepared for our customer. Maybe I'll make a video of that. We'll see how I feel later on, and yeah, hopefully you guys want to see it. You know what, I'm gonna make it, and if you guys want to see it, you can comment below, and then we'll actually spend some time and edit it. Probably be the same fashion as this video where it's just fast forwarding and music. Of course, that being said, hopefully you found the video entertaining as well as informative. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss one of my new videos. And as always, thanks for watching. We will see you in the next one. This one is, well, it's not very popular anymore because it's quite old. So there are a few different things that we usually do and compared to, what the fuck did I just say? What we're going to be doing on the Forester today is ripping out this engine. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our tools and what we'll need. And yeah, if I think of any other valid or important information that I should tell you, I will record it. Yeah, that doesn't make me sound stupid. It's going to be tough with all the noises out here. Yeah, so I'm not going to be talking you Another thing we're going to be doing is we're not going to be talking you through the video. As I was saying, I don't know what I was saying. Fuck. I'll be back. Anyhow, you should keep it because most times worm clamps are... Oh my god, dude. Yeah, now you see why I'm putting music over this. The amount of noises that are up in this place is just, come on. Start removing this shit. Oh my god, that shit's stuck on there pretty good. We're gonna leave that shit for now. I'm gonna get the radiator off first. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Oh my fuck. Use needle nose vice grip, no shame. Disconnect other side. Lucky for you, better view. I said that weird because those were notes. I think I'll probably just voice over this part so you can hear my beautiful voice again and it'll make more sense. Plus I don't have to type out a paragraph. Oh, this is awkward to do with the drain pan in the way. Pray to God it comes off. The rust belt is not so kind sometimes. Oh, fuck, I left it running, stupid. Make sure everything as best as you can see is disconnected from the bottom. Now we're gonna go ahead, move to the top, disconnect everything there, and get our engine ready. Oh, you know, just saying that, I remember what the fuck else is connected, stupid. I can't see shit because my camera's in the fucking way. Part of being a mechanic is finding everything in the dark, finding the hole in the dark with no guidance. Oh, I don't know who tightened these guys up. Fuck. Oh, fuck. I think it's time for a new jacket. Yeah, I'd replace that shit. It's very hard to see this shit. In my socket, you fucking rusty pile of shit. Don't drop into the abyss of the engine bay. We'll never find again. Disconnect your knock sensor. Sometimes that wire will come out, and if it does, well, you're gonna have a fun time trying to put it back in. Luckily for me, we don't care. Don't kick the camera. Ignition wire on this side. Ignition wires, Jimmy, plural. It doesn't matter because this is a fucking music video, not a goddamn... I got a point, Jim, stupid. Now that guy was really on there, boy. Intake. Oh, fuck you. Of course I forgot my fucking coolant temp sensor.
There you go. Now we're talking.
Hold up, Carlos, hold up.
Oh, sorry.
Because you're not trying to film this for you guys on YouTube. That kind of makes sense in my head, but I know it's not grammatically correct. Listen, I'm a mechanic, not a linguist. Next step for me is going to be to get this short block, our wonderful short block right ahead so I can get the short block. Fucking cocksucker. Fuck, bro. I can't say block today. I can't say block. I don't even know what I said. Block. It ain't easy, bro. It's not easy, bro. Everybody thinks YouTube are easy. It's not easy.